Hello, everybody, and welcome into this week's 30 Minutes program. Really excited to talk about WLJT, PBS. I'm going to tell you that this is the time that you really want to pay attention to WLJT and the things that are going on. And Peter Noll is with us today, really nice guy. And he also has brought in some heavy hitter, and her name is Julie Cooke. I've been watching and listening to her for a long time, and it's just great to have both of you in the studios to talk about what's going on with public broadcasting. And Peter, it's been a little while since we've been here, and now we're
thank you. Yeah, no, I can't believe I am on my third year at WLJT. Time does fly when you're having fun, but it just so much going on, and we are really excited to welcome. We have some new team members that are helping with our sponsorships and underwriting. Julie Cooke, a well-known name around Jackson and all of West Tennessee, is with me today, and we're excited to have Julie on board.
I'm just in my second month, so my radio brain is definitely switching gears and trying to take in and learn everything I can learn.
Well, Julie, let me just simply say this. I know that people love you, respect you, and if you say something on TV or radio, we know that it's what it is, and we don't have to worry about it. So let me ask you, Julie, how did you connect from radio to television through the years? Because you've been on TV a lot over the last number of years.
A little bit, yeah. I did work at Channel 7 a few years ago at WBBJ, and so I had as a news reporter, and as you know, that is totally a different animal from radio. But I had most recently, of course, we'd always done interviews here and there, news-wise, and then just as I was on the air in music, having guests in and public affairs programs and things like that. But I don't remember when Peter and I met, probably a year or so ago, and I had done some interviews for one of the new programs that he had added called Tennessee is Talking, and we just, I don't know, it just kind of came along, and the job for the corporate underwriting and sponsorship came open. And so I applied for that, and it worked out. And I guess you can, I don't want to say an old dog learn new tricks, but I say it all the time. So I'm just trying to, you definitely have to get your head in a different place. It's, it's media, but just the outlay of it is so appealing, and so many great things going on. We've added, I think, like 10 local programs just in the past.
Yeah, we have, in the last 12 months, we've launched 6 new series, and it's been over 10 when you count the specials as well.
Yeah. Peter, things have changed in the last few months, if you will. Part of that happens to be with funding for public television. What's the update on that with the new administration that has taken place?
Sure.
And how does it affect WLJT?
Well, you've heard that, they're looking to cut costs in Washington, and that's what has propelled President Trump into office, and a lot of congressional members. So there is a push to end funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and that's the entity that Congress created, I think when Lyndon Johnson was president, that created the funding to public radio and television stations. And we're a public television station, WLJT. So every year they give grants out, and we are a recipient of one of those grants. Mm-hmm. It is funded, I believe, through the fiscal year 26. Mm-hmm. Currently, it's always forward funded, so you have that planning you can make. And so if that were to go away, that would impact us, beginning in that fiscal year of 27. And it would impact the station severely. It would impact mostly smaller stations. The larger stations, your Dallas, your Nashville, Memphis, they get a lot more funding, and have a larger pool of people that donate to their stations because it's a bigger city. But our funding from that federal grant, it's a bigger piece of our funding pie.
It's probably, 80% maybe?
Something about that, yeah. We also get a grant from the state of Tennessee And then the rest is made up of donations by individual viewers and business corporate underwriting.
Mm-hmm. So I know you go to the Hill. I know you go there in the lobby to make sure that our congressmen through West Tennessee understand what's going on. I mean, WLJT is a pretty important piece of us here in West Tennessee.
It is, and I think I think the latest problems that some of the congressional people point out, or what some characterize as bias in the media. We don't do local news. A lot of it they're referring to National Public Radio, NPR, which we're not associated with. We don't have an NPR station. We don't do local news. And so a lot of that is what their problems are, that they call that bias, which WLJT doesn't have. Our station started in 1968. We started before there was a PBS. And we'll be here after there's a PBS. We are as local as it comes.
I said to you a little earlier about we have something in common. Our WCMT FM station, at the time it was 101.7. It also went on the air in 1968. It was really a big deal for West Tennessee to have, a radio station, FM channel, first time around here that we're familiar with. And, of course, WLJT. And, then it moved to 1981 when we had, let's go back here for just a second. We go back to the television station. It was on this campus we built it up. And, of course, the transmitters between Jackson and Lexington, and sends a signal back there. And we felt like we were pretty important to be able to have a television station here.
Yes. So the history of WLJT is so fascinating. From its roots as basically we were a repeater for Memphis. We basically started, we were owned by the state of Tennessee, and they wanted to start doing educational courses over a television system. Julie even remembers watching those in school.
I do. We had a piano teacher because we had a little black and white television in elementary school, but our music classes were taught. And it was out of Memphis, I'm sure.
Yep.
She would play the piano, and then we would repeat, and you'd have a little music lesson there on television.
So it was, WLJT was started by the state because people in rural West Tennessee couldn't get KNO Channel 10. And so that's why we started to bring public educational television to rural West Tennessee. That's in our DNA. It was exciting to see how that started. And then when the state, when Governor Lamar Alexander, was in, they had budget issues, and consultants said, hey, you guys need to get rid of your PBS stations. So they divested themselves of, WLJT, the Cookeville station, Chattanooga, and Knoxville. And that's when the West Tennessee Public Television Council was founded. And Speaker of the House, Ned McWhirter at the time, from Dresden, and said, "Hey, we could put those offices of the station at here in
University
Martin,
of Tennessee
Martin,
yeah.
And just a synergy because the university was growing at the time, it still is, and he just saw some partnerships, and I think that was very visionary of him because we could collaborate with students learning about media and things like that."
1981, I think. Maybe 81, 82. I'm trying to remember because I was here in 81 for the second time. And during that period, as I recall, we were doing basketball games and football games. I'm not sure about football, but I do know about basketball. We were covering basketball on TV.
Yep. The station has a rich history of covering those local UTM sports. And I think that changed and that all went to like ESPN or the different rights, the sports rights it became very, very important and not just covering your local games anymore.
If you just joined us, we have Peter Noll with us. He is the manager, overseer. He's CEO of WLJT's television station. Julie Cooke is also here with us. We're going to continue for just a little bit more before we bring Julie back in. But one of the things that continues to stand out is how many people have learned on that campus technology from television, whether it be engineering or going out and reporting or doing ball games or anchoring. I mean, that has been a very, very big plus for the university.
It's been something that we have tried to re-engage since I've been there, is really that internship program, that hands-on learning that you can't get everywhere. And the UTM communications program is very robust, and we've tried to, be a part of that. And we work well with the communications department as far as finding internships and interns, students that they feel that would, really take to this and are looking to go into this.
Peter, the thing that I think that has happened here in West Tennessee, when you came in, you had a vision. And I think the vision was essentially to make this right in the middle of West Tennessee. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about that.
No, it's to really, I believe the future of all television, and especially public television, is to be as local as we can. I think a lot of media has lost that connection to the local community, and we are trying to be local. As the choices of media continue to quadruple, it seems like every day. And as people are watching on demand, they're not watching live, linear, over-the-air broadcasts as much as they once did. They're watching streaming. They're watching shows on demand. And so we are in those spaces, but we're trying to be in those spaces with local content, because the future of WLJT, and I believe all media, is really how local can we be. We're all given a license by the FCC to serve the public good, serve the public interest of West Tennessee. And so, I put my phone number out there all the time, and people can call and give me their 2 cents. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but ultimately that's who I work for, is the viewers. Not only are those the people that, we're licensed as a community licensed television station, but those are the ones that are donors.
Do you see that at some point where everything will be moved to Jackson?
No, I really don't. We have had such a rich history in Martin, at the University of Tennessee in Martin, and I foresee us always having a presence here. Our bylaws even dictate that we have a faculty or staff member on our board of directors, which is made up of 16 people, myself as a non-voting member, and then 15 leaders from the community. Chancellor Freeman is the UTM's representative on our board of directors. So I think there will always be a presence in Martin. As I said, all roads through West Tennessee go through Martin and go through UTM. Mm-hmm. There are so many people. If you wear a UTM hat, sweatpants, every time I've worn something, people are like, oh, did you go to Martin? Because everyone has a relative, daughter, son, grandchild that goes to UTM.
Yeah, one of the things, and I'm going to kind of stand behind you on this. I'm not sure how it's going to come out, but technology has taken jobs away. I mean, there's not any doubt about that. You can have somebody in Washington, D.C. take charge of a radio station or a television station in Hawaii. And with that, things are a lot different than what they were 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
I was going to say,
yeah, and what we know to be true today, technology-wise, could change next week. Mm-hmm. With AI. I mean, everyone's talking about that. But what, it's really about doing more local content. And that's what we've been trying to, when I started at the television station, I had met Julie when I worked at another TV station in West Tennessee, getting some stuff for a chamber event.
Always getting swag.
Yeah, she always was. Okay. And so when we were looking for people, Julie had volunteered at our station, WLJT, to host a flag retirement ceremony and helped us out for various things. So when we launched our new weekly talk show called Tennessee is Talking, Julie was one of the names that we had thought about to be in our stable of hosts, our on-air hosts, to do that. And so it's really about having programs that are 30 minutes long, as this one is, because a lot of, politicians or people, they're used to a 90-second story or one sound bite. We wanted to give people a fresh breath of air to talk about one topic or whatever topics they want to talk about for 30 minutes, that we can ask follow-up questions to give context. This isn't a hurry up and get it done in 2 minutes for the news or a one soundbite. This is to really let you explain things. And so we've had politicians on, we've had nonprofits on, we've had a whole bunch of people on since we launched a little over a year ago. And it's all about whatever you want to talk about. I was talking with one of our politicians, and, they're so used to this gotcha mentality in journalists. I said, we are not that. We're not a news, we are a community information and affairs program.
Julie,
and so we're not looking for that gotcha.
Julie, you have been behind the mic for a number of years. Tell me about this program about Tennessee Talking.
Well, it pretty much spotlights different aspects of the community. We're talking about the 30-minute program. What it does is, there are a lot of things that I think being in Jackson, it's kind of the hub for a lot of the nonprofits. And that's one thing, because a lot of these organizations that rely on public funding, people don't really know that much about them.
Let me just jump in. United Way. Just exactly,
right.
Just
what do they do? So this is not a 30-second soundbite. It gives the opportunity to actually tell what part of the community that these organizations serve. And I think that's really, really important, because, as time goes on, funding is here, and us included. But there are people that need these services that don't know about them. There are people that may have a deep concern for the kind of services that just don't really understand what they want to do. And, a lot of the people that are with a limited staff they're not always able to get their word out as much as they want to. But I think the important thing, and what attracted me, was just the priority on the local programming and the extent of the local productions. And, we're covering the parades. We're going to the people with things that they care about and things that they invest their time in. And that's what as far as the reading, I think the Tennessee Writes, that's kind of an interest. But the Tennessee is Talking is kind of a mix of that, I think, of interesting folks. And then, but it does give you can watch a 30-minute program with somebody that you actually know, probably, or a prominent figure.
Now, you have some people that are going to be on your program here in the near future with some authors. Is that correct?
That's the Tennessee Writes program. Yeah. And then Peter has done those interviews, which is really interesting. And they're from several parts. And there's so many writers just in Jackson. And then when you get like your Lisa Smart, your Susanna, and I never can think of her name because we always know her as Susanna, but a lot of different authors around. But I think that priority on the local programming is the main thing, because just like your station, you can serve this area, you can serve your area, and a lot of times people don't know about things. My thing is, and you've seen so much in radio as I have, is now any kind of national information is available at your fingertips. If you want to know about something, you can pretty much get it somewhere very easily. But how are you going to know when that, Rotary Club does their annual banquet, or when that Sports Hall of Fame is naming their people? Things get on the news, but they're very short and quick. Everything is so quick. And I love that we have the luxury to spend time on some of these topics.
Julie, and I'm glad you brought that up in from your situation coming here. It's not more, it's more of an education program every time you watch it. I mean, that's what I think keeps the community involved, because, I didn't know that person was involved with that program. And I just mentioned United Way because it's the time for United Way to start working their goals and so forth.
Well, I've learned from going around the years, and I just remember coming up one year to spend half a day with the New Bern Fire Department, having something going on, a little festival all day, or going to, Brownsville, or doing any of those things. And you go out around West Tennessee and see all the volunteers that it takes to put these events on, raising money for their fire departments or their Carl Perkins centers or whatever it may be. And you just think about all the thousands and thousands of people that are dedicated to this cause. This is part of their community. This is how they invest. This is how they dedicate themselves. And that's been probably my favorite thing. Just getting out over the career. And some things you get paid for and some things you don't. It doesn't matter. If you can go up there and be part of that, but just having so many people volunteer and come together and see their work come to fruition is always been just touched my heart. So much.
I honestly believe this, and that is, if you're out doing things in the community will come and support whatever it is that you ask for. And you talked about the money, the donors, and so forth, and I think you probably get somewhere. I'm guessing close to $1 million, maybe a year, or maybe not that much. Maybe it's only 700,000 or whatever that figure happens to be. But all of those dollars turn it right back into the community, if I'm right. I mean, outside of paying your costs, but you got to have something to.
We say we're the most local television station in West Tennessee. We are owned by the community. We are, all of our money is in local banks. We use local insurance brokers. We try and be as local as we can be. No other West Tennessee television station can say that they're locally owned anymore. And we feel that's important because we understand the community, listening to the community. That's why Tennessee Writes, so many people were coming up and say, did you know so-and-so wrote a book? And did you know so-and-so? And there was like all these local people that had written books. We're like, well, let's feature them. We'll create a half-hour show. And so we did that. You mentioned the history starting in 1968, Paul. We have a huge library of videos of programs that we have covered through the decades. And that's why we started a new program called Retro 11. Every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, you can watch the, Paris fish fry of the world's largest fish fry parade from 1998, or the different programs we have of the musical shows that we've done. We look back through the decades, and so every night at 9 o'clock, it's something. I learned about the Shannon Street Festival that they used to have in Jackson. And so I was like, what was this? And, I learned that on...
That was a big deal.
And just a note, there is, because I'm on this committee, there is an effort to revive that festival.
And so I'm not saying it's because we've been running the show. But,
probably had something to do with it.
But, so we're trying to really just be as local as possible.
If you've just joined us, Peter Noll is with us, along with Julie Cooke. We're going to run out of time if we don't hurry up. Tell me about Spotlight. This is
Spotlight 11. Yeah, it's our monthly magazine that we send out to all of our donors and supporters every month. It's got stories about things that they'll be seeing on TV, story about things happening in the community. We profile local people.
For everyone who
I am. I write a little column. Yeah.
For everyone who misses having that paper in your hand and magazine or whatever you like.
Yeah, we did a feature in January on Tennessee Writes, the local authors that we are featuring, and talk about the new lineup on television. One thing we heard from viewers is that they wanted more comfortable television. In the afternoon, we used to be showing a lot of news programming. And so they said, we get news everywhere all the time. So we, did a survey of our viewers, and we put cooking programs. The Best of Julia Childs is on in the afternoons, America's Test Kitchen. And at 6 o'clock, we started 5 nights a week at one of the most popular PBS shows ever, Antiques Roadshow.
Just got to run through a couple of little things that are important. What is the best time to reach WLJT? How do you get in, if I wanted to make a phone call, somebody wants to give you some money, how does that happen?
The best way to call us is Monday through Friday, like 9 to 4, at either our main business office, of course, is in
Jackson, I guess.
No, in Martin. Martin
okay.
is our main business office and will be. That number is 731 731-881-7561. 731-881-7561 is the main business office if people want to donate or they've got a comment or question. The other way, but the easiest and the most secure way is to donate online at westtnpbs.org. That's westtnpbs.org. And there's a donate tab right there. You can donate money. You can donate an old car. You can donate real estate that you are just paying taxes on and don't need anymore. There's always a way to donate.
You know, I think the other thing about it is people, where is this on the dial? Where do I find channel 11 or channel, what is it?
So depending on how you watch, a lot of people have been cutting the cable, cutting the cord, as they say, and we're channel 11.1. Now the tower is in Lexington. WLJT stands for Lexington, Jackson, Tennessee. And so you've got to make sure it's pointed towards Lexington. We're right at Beach Bluff. So we're 11.1, and we also have 11.2, which is a 24/7 PBS Kids channel we offer. And then 11.3 is Create. The higher that antenna goes, the better it is. If you'll remember the old pre-cable days, you had to get that antenna on your roof. That really, if you buy just a cheap, you may not be getting it, reaching channel 11. But if you have internet, download the PBS app, select WLJT as your local station, and you can watch our live stream on the PBS app. It's that easy. And you can also watch all of our shows on demand.
Well, I think that's one of the things, people may have a problem with. They just maybe don't. The digital is so overwhelming. Mm-hmm. You sit down and you don't know where to go. And there's a lot of moving that for an older person with trying to type it in, where we're going. Yep.
And I've talked through them. There was an elderly woman that wanted to watch our history show about a World War I veteran that was recognized in Jackson. And I was on the phone with her like at 9:30 at night, helping her get her Roku set up. And I will do that. And, for everyone who's, a big network, a person at Facebook, they aren't going to do that. WLJT Channel 11, we're going to go that extra effort because we are local and we believe in being local. We love West Tennessee, and we're going to be as local as our funding allows.
Let me give you the opportunity to spotlight some of your staff. You won't be able, maybe you won't know them all at one time, but here we go.
Yeah, no, we have a great team here we have our director of production, Daryl Connor. He's been here, I want to say 28 years. And Charles Glisson, I believe he worked here for a little bit, went to UTM. He's our senior producer director. And they help put together our great shows. Melissa Connor and, Sarah in our business office, and we have a wonderful master control team, Russell Barker and Matthew Henderson, and then also JJ Phelps in programming. We also have some other, we mentioned Tanya Tasker works with Julie in sponsorships, and then we also have helping us with some of our digital, and they work out of our Jackson. Yeah, Easton.
Bailey and Easton.
Yeah, Bailey Luther. She's originally from Pickwick, and she's a UTM grad. And Easton Patterson helps us with digital and is producer.
I need to let this be the last thing, but what's the most important thing about WLJT to the viewers?
I really don't care if you watch. I only care if you donate. And I know that sounds very sarcastic, but we don't sell ratings. We exist if you support us.
Great having both of you on the radio and on television. Appreciate the time you've taken today, Julie. You and Peter both have a chemistry that is pretty good, I can tell right now, between the two of you. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure to have you here talking about WLJT. Thank you very much, Peter and Julie. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
That's our program today here on 30 Minutes. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again soon on Thunderbolt Radio's 30 Minutes.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.